Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back for Unit 2. So I've been talking to my colleagues, your tutors, and they've told me you come up with wild, weird, exciting ideas for the PMI. So now I'm confident that you guys have the creative spark. What I want to do is look at a couple of other techniques just to think of other ways of being creative, generating ideas, and looking at things from new perspectives. So the second technique I want to look at is called the CAF, or consider all factors. So how the CAF works is, the theory is this really. If I ask you, why are you wearing that jumper? Or why do you go to the particular pub you go to? You normally have one or two pat answers that you come up with. So you'll normally say something like, oh, well, this jumper, I lost a bet, or it's the only thing that was clean, or that's all I have in my wardrobe, or whatever. But what the CAF says is, go deeper and think harder about something. So let's say instead of thinking of a few pat answers, we go deeper. Let's say we think of a number, and the number is 10. And we're not going to stop thinking about why we wear the jumper we're wearing, why we follow the newspapers we follow, why we follow the political parties we follow. We're going to focus and keep thinking until we get 10 reasons as to why we do that. Now, reasons 1, 2, and 3, they'll be your pat answers that you always come up with. They're the safe answers, they're the comfortable answers. That's as far as normally you think about it. Whereas if you go deeper, maybe answers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 might be complete nonsense. They can be silly, they can be daft, they can be fun. But maybe answer 10 might be really valuable, really important, something you hadn't thought of before. But by doing it this way, you think deeper and go harder about it. So having a fixed number to aim for. Unlike the PMI, which we know was a timed exercise, so we only spent a couple of minutes on each of the 3 phases. For the CAF, there's no time involved. You just keep on thinking until you get 10 factors. So let's see how you do it. On the top of your page, you write C, consider all factors of CAF. Along the side, you number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some people do bullet points instead, but then don't know when they've reached the number 10. So it's as well just to write down 1 to 10. You'll think of one idea, write it down, then the next, then the next, then the next, then the next, and just keep on going. Some people might get this done 3 or 4 minutes. Some people could take 7 or 8 minutes. It depends. Different people are different. Don't worry about anybody else at all. That's the secret of creativity. I think what inhibits a lot of people is their fear of looking foolish, or they don't want to look childish, or they don't want to look silly. Whereas what we know from a body of creativity research is that the more fun, the more in contact with your childlike nature you are, the more creative you're going to be. So if some of these answers are silly or just daft, don't worry about it. Edward de Bono, the lateral thinking guru, says it quite well when he says, sometimes you go out far to pull back some very good ideas. So no matter how wild or wonderful the idea is, there might be a tamer version of that idea that might be quite useful and implementable. So let's consider an example. Let's say a husband and wife are going to buy a used car. And I want to give you 10 factors I think a husband and wife should consider before they buy a second-hand car. Here's 10 factors. Number 1, that the person selling the car actually owns it. So this is a really important one, because if you give €7,000 to somebody and they don't own a car, but they say they do, they probably won't give it back. So that would be an important factor to consider. Number 2, the price of the car. How much does it cost and can we afford it? Number 3, the type and color of the car. And in particular, I guess for the men here, does it go with my eyes? Does it match my trousers and things like that? These would be very important considerations when we're buying a car. The engine power and the speed of the car, particularly if you're buying it for bank robberies and stuff, and you need to get a quick getaway, that's always important. Are all the mechanical parts working well is a big consideration, clearly, and it helps to have a friend who's handy or mechanical to take a look at it with you for that one. Is the car big enough for the family that it's being bought for? So let's say this husband and wife, if the husband is Mike Brady and the wife is Carol Brady, and Mike has 3 sons and Carol has 3 daughters, and we have Alice the maid as well, that's 9 people who are going to be in this car. And hopefully we're the Brady Bunch family, otherwise things have got confused. Whereas if I'm Victor Meldrew and I just have my wife Margaret with me, I don't need as big a car as the Brady Bunch family need. Has the car been in a crash? That could be important to know. Will it be easy to get replacement parts is a factor to consider. Does this car have taxation and NCT certification? Very useful information. And what is its potential resale value? So the technique is very simple. I suppose some of these factors that I've listed are very serious, but fun, silly ones are the best ways to go. The more daft, the better, really. And it's easier to tame a wild idea than it is to make a boring idea exciting. So I'm going to turn you over now to your tutor. They're going to give you an exercise in terms of how to do a CAF exercise, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks very much.